Hello y'all, welcome back to my channel. It's Jessie D. Today we are going to talk about credit myths and lies that I have heard or I have been told to by people that is just technically not true, that some people believe. So today we are going to debunk these credit myths that have been going on for years. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, please keep on watching. The first myth that we are going to talk about is paying off your credit cards. So there's a myth that if you pay off your credit cards, it does not, all the way down to zero, it does not help your credit. Now, paying off your credit card each month does help your credit, but the reason why this is a myth is because depending on the day that your creditor reports to the credit bureau, that's what helps you. So it's usually the day before your statement cycle ends, so that you can see how much that the person has charged for the month. When you pay it off the next month, it goes up. So if I know when my creditor reports to my credit bureau, then I am able to trump this. So technically, paying off your credit to zero, sometimes it can show non-activity if you're the type that pays your credit card off each week, which is a good thing. Some people say it's not a good thing, but I'm here to debate. It is a good thing if you do it to the credit card company, but to your credit report, it may not be the best thing. It's probably better for you to just pay it down to a penny or whatever, like I tell people. So paying off your credit cards does help. Just pay them down to a penny. Okay, thank you. Now, the second myth is how authorized users have access to your account. So this is not true. If you're an authorized user on someone's account, you cannot go on to their, without having a physical card, you cannot do anything with that account. If you call in, they're not going to give you any information or anything like that, so you have no power. Technically, if you're an authorized user on the account, most companies have to consult with the primary card holder in order for you to make any changes or do anything to the account. Okay, so if grandmama doesn't want to add you as an authorized user to the account because she thinks you're going to do something, please direct her to this video and let her know that it is not going to affect her account if you are an authorized user. You can also get it to where this person doesn't even have a card to the account. Okay. All right, the third one, which makes me laugh, is that Credit Karma is an actual score. So I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but Credit Karma is a Vantage score, which is for educational purposes only. That under no circumstance necessary is your FICO score. No lender under the sun or moon goes to Credit Karma and uses that score to determine if they're going to lend to you or not. The only scores that matter is your FICO 8 score, which soon will be your FICO 10. Your FICO, F-I-C-O, is the only credit score that matters to lenders. Nobody besides you look at Credit Karma when it comes to determining anything. So your Credit Karma score could be high on Credit Karma and it could be low on FICO, or it could be low on Credit Karma and high on FICO. My credit score is lower on Credit Karma than it is on my FICO. Since it's that way, I don't care. You know, I look at Credit Karma, of course. I look at Credit Karma once a week. But that's just because I want to see what is actually physically on my report and who has updated and reported my utilization or whatever like that. That's the only reason why I use Credit Karma, because that score, that is free. Okay, but Credit Karma is not your actual credit score, so do not determine your loan eligibility by Credit Karma. Okay. All right, the next one is that you have to have good credit to buy a house. I am here to tell y'all, you do not, under any circumstance necessary, have to have good credit. And when I say good credit, I mean what the FICO says is good credit. Good credit is like anything I think above like a 690 or something like that is considered good. Now, fair credit, yes, you have to have fair credit. You cannot have bad credit and buy a house. You have to have fair credit. Fair credit needs to be to get a house, you need a 620, okay? That's what I've seen mostly, and that needs to be on 2 of the 3 credit bureaus. It doesn't have to be a 620 on all 3, but at least a 620 on 2 of the 3 for most mortgage companies. Most creditors pull certain credit bureaus, so you know, depending on what you're actually applying for, that's what it depends on, what your credit score needs to be. But when it comes to a home, they pull all 3 and they take the top 2 of the 3, okay, and average them together or something like that, is what they were telling me. So you need at least a 620 to get the best rate. You need a 680, but you know, that's fair. 680 is not all that. It's not hard to get a 680. So if you just listen to my video tips, you'll have a 680 in no time. But anywho, a 680 is usually what most lenders like, so you can get like the best interest rates and things like that and be approved for any of the loans, okay? So you do not have to have good credits, good FICO good, to be a homeowner, okay? You can get a home mortgage with a 620, okay? I've seen it done a million times. All right, so the next one is that you do not need to have a big down payment to get a home. Okay, so I am not, next week we will talk about the home buying series. We will go into different FHA loans, down payment assistance, down payments, things like that. We will go over all that. Today I'm just gonna tell you, you do not have to have a large down payment to buy a home. Some people can get a home with no money down, okay? A lot of people get homes with no money down. A lot of people get homes with 3% down, and so here, so forth, whatever. But that is a myth, and you do not have to have a big down payment in order to be a home owner, okay? All right. So the next one is too many credit cards are bad for your credit. This is the biggest lie anybody has ever told you. You're talking about somebody that has about 10 credit cards, okay? So the more credit cards you have actually is the better, because you have a bigger amount, like as far as credit limit amount. So when you start getting up into 50, 60, $70,000 in available credit, that is really good for your credit. Some people feel like, I need 1 credit card, blah, 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 blah. I only need 1 card because that's what banks look at. No, they don't, okay? The more credit, the better. That means more people like you and more people like your credit profile, okay? So I do not know exactly how many credit cards I have, but I probably do have about 10, y'all, for real. So now, how I pay them, and do I have 10 credit cards that are maxed out? Absolutely not. Now, when you have 10 that are maxed out, yes, that's terrible. But the more cards you have, sometimes is the better credit score you have, because it shows your credit mix. Your credit mix plays a part of your credit score overall as well. So when you have like installment loans and car payments, mortgages, credit cards, lines of credit, things like that, those all go into your mix and they help your credit overall. It's hard to get above an 800 when you do not have a mortgage, okay? I am not above an 800. I don't know how to get, like, I tell people how I'm gonna get above 800, but I've had people tell me you got to get a mortgage. So that's the only reason why I'm not above 800, but I don't care, because I'm not gonna get turned down for credit because I don't have an 800, okay? As long as you have above a 750, you're fine. But when you have more credit, that's the better your credit is. Just because you only have 1 credit card doesn't mean your credit is better than somebody that has 10. It's a complete lie, okay? So usually the more cards, the better. You need at least 3 revolving lines to be good or whatever. But I'm not saying you have to have 10, but it's definitely a myth, okay? The next one is credit inquiries are really bad, make your score go down 50, 100 points. No, they don't. No, they don't. Credit inquiries make your score go down a couple of points. That's why it's best to, whatever inquiries you're going to do them in a small amount of time. So if you want new credit cards, you need to apply for all those in the same day, so that it does not affect your score as much. Your credit score is not going to increase when you're running it like close together like that. If you're running like months spread out, then yeah, it will. But inquiries affect your credit score for like 12 months, and then after 2 years it completely deletes off your credit report. Now, one thing that a lot of people don't know is that a long time ago when you used to go to a car place and they run your credit to every freaking lender that they have, and you have like 30 inquiries on your credit, that it affects you like a lot. It used to. So that used to affect you a lot. But now when someone runs your credit in close proximities like that, it only counts as one, which is true, but it still shows up separately. But it only counts as like, only affects your score by having one inquiry if your credit is ran within like days apart or whatever. So that is something that a lot of people do not know. I had a car salesman tell me that one time before, and I told him he was lying, because at the time I hadn't bought a car in a long time, but I ended up going to my credit union. But anyway, so I hadn't bought a car in a long time, and I was like, y'all are not fit to run my credit, and I have all those inquiries on there. So he told me that it doesn't, and they changed that, and blah, blah, this, blah, blah, that. But you know, car salesmen are liars. So I didn't believe him, but I went and looked it up for myself, and he was actually telling the truth. FICO did come out with something to where it will not affect your score when you go to a car dealership anymore, okay, as much as it used to. All right, the next one is number 9. Okay, so this one right here, this one is the negative items stay on your credit report indefinitely. Okay, I had a banker, y'all, a banker tell me that negative items do not fall off your credit report after 7 years. Now, I have a problem when people do not know their job well. Everyone that has ever researched credit knows that after 7 years, something cannot stay on your credit report negatively if it's 7 years old. Collections, late payments, any of that. If it's negative, it cannot stay on there after 7 years. It's a statute of limitations, and according to the Fair Credit Reporting Agency, FCRA, or whatever, it has to delete after 7 years, okay? They can only come after you for 7 years, so it can only stay on there for 7 years, okay? So if you have something on your credit report that is negative and it is coming up on 7 years, or it's 7 years, you need to go ahead and delete that and get that disputed off your credit report, because it no longer is going to affect you, and most companies won't even fight it if like you're within months with it already being deleted off, okay? So after 7 years, repeat to me everyone, after 7 years, it will not stay on my credit report if it is negative, okay? It's gone. It's deleted. It's no more. You can't find it nowhere, okay? Nobody knows about it but you. Don't tell nobody about it, especially if it's repossession, foreclosure, any of that, whatever, okay? It's not on there no more. All right, so the last one, which is a big one, the last one is that bankruptcy is always bad. I know. People are like, oh my God, bankruptcy is the worst thing you can possibly do to your credit. Okay. For a little bit of time, yes it is, but let me tell y'all, Chapter 7 bankruptcy is one of the many blessings as Americans that you can do when you are upside down in your debt, okay? There is a Chapter 11, there's Chapter 13, I think there's like a Chapter 11 or something like that, but I'm not gonna get into that. I will touch on 7 and 13 real quick. Chapter 7 is when all your creditors are just gone. You're not paying them no more. So you file court, let the judge know you can't afford to pay them. You're in over your head. You go to court. They be like, okay, over and done with. After you've been discharged, you can start getting credit. I know people that have been out of bankruptcy for 30 days and already got new credit cards and cars, vehicles. They ain't got no house, but they got a vehicle, okay? So if you are in over your head, you definitely need to look up filing bankruptcy. Filing bankruptcy is not the end of the world. I know people that's done it 2 to 3 times, okay? Chapter 7, I think you can only do like once every 7 years. Chapter 13, I think you can do it like 7 and 13 or whatever like that. I don't know. I have never filed bankruptcy. I thank God that I've never had to file bankruptcy, but I have people very close to me that have, and I know that it is not the end of the world, okay? Sometimes it's the best thing they could have ever done other than living with bad credit for 7 years. So you can live with bad credit for 7 years, or you can file bankruptcy and start over. Now, in the home buying series, we will go over how bankruptcy affects home ownership, because I have not researched it enough or talked to my mortgage lender about filing bankruptcy and how it affects, but I know a little bit about it, okay? But next week I will tell you all about it. But filing bankruptcy is not the end of the world, okay? Chapter 7 will help you out. Chapter 13 will allow you to keep your stuff. Okay, so I know people that have filed chapter 13, went out and bought a $250,000 house or Mercedes and all kind of stuff, and filed chapter 13 so they can keep all their stuff. Don't do that. Don't be that person. Okay, it should be illegal, but I know people that have done it, and they have to pay just a small amount each month. They get to keep all their stuff. That's not for me, because I like the freedom of going out and buying whatever I want and getting whatever credit card I want. I like that freedom, but I know people that have, so it's definitely not the end of the world. Okay, so that is my credit myth. And yes, I do know what I'm talking about, okay, because I have been in this industry for a long time. But that is all we are going to talk about for today. I cannot wait to do the home buying series. It's going to be so much fun, but I want to get over all the credit myths and how to fix your credit before I get into how to build business credit and how to buy a home and things like that, and the steps, because you need to handle this part first, because if you don't have good personal credit, you really can't do a whole lot. So, and it's easy to fix. So I want to give y'all all the tips and tricks and the things that I've learned over all the years that I wish I would have known a long time ago. So thank y'all so much for watching. Bye. Make sure you subscribe.